part of me wants to react with anger and then fear, and then there's another part that's telling me and reminding me that this was done purposely to put fear and sadness in me, and I can't afford to absorb any more fear or any more sadness into my being, because it's affecting me.
Mm-hmm. To the degree of evil that you have taken in within you, and you've endured, you can then take that and cultivate that for good. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
It's a metaphysical, alchemical process that we're undergoing as individuals. And then there's a metaphysical process that we're undergoing as a whole collective of Black people and a whole collective of the human race. So we have to experience this because it's still within our DNA.
Mm-hmm.
So when it no longer has a purpose, when it no longer serves a purpose within us, it'll no longer transpire outside of us. For questions, comments, and to show your support, visit us on the web at afroempath.com. How an understanding of the Hermetic principles and the Kabbalion has helped you out, I'm trying to say, in your life, and how have you applied it to your everyday understanding of life itself, and how has that helped you? How has that helped to bring you peace in your life and your now? You know what I'm trying to say? Because that's important. Because I talk about the Hermetic principles all the time, and it may seem as if these are just 7 laws that may seem vague and okay, this is cool, some cool stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? But like, how can you take that and apply it to bring you not only peace, but I feel that inner peace is actually power. But you know what I'm saying? But I'll let you describe it in your life how it's affected you.
No, those laws are deep. I'm grateful that you introduced them to me. I've heard of them. I've heard people mention them like over and over, like, but I never got into it until you gave me the recording to listen to. But those laws are deep because you can apply it to everything. Like I've been applying it to almost everything that I do and everything that I think about, or even things that I observe.
Yeah, like give me an example, please. Give me just an everyday example. It doesn't have to be something, just anything.
An everyday example.
Yeah. Like for example, so, and this is a lot of empaths, right? Because I see empaths on Facebook every day. That every day, almost, or every week, post something like, for example, and see, I don't even follow the news anymore, right? But I see, black guy ran over by a white supremacist at rally. Black guy got shot, or I mean that's been going on for a while. But all kinds of, just kind of horrible stories in the world. You know what I'm trying to say? And I used to post these things too. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not saying there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I'm just saying that it shows it to me. There is a certain level of peace when you have faith in how the universal, the plan within that's built within the universe. You know what I'm trying to say? That makes sense. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, meaning that there is something through all this chaos, right? There is something that is being played out here. You know what I'm trying to say? And I think that people don't really understand. This is something that the sister Black Ether mentioned. People don't really understand paradoxes. You know what I'm trying to say? And how they work. And they don't understand universal law and how it applies to the chaos out externally, and also the chaos via the Kundalini internally. So yeah. So tell me how that, because we met probably what, like 4 months ago, I would say, maybe about 4 months ago, I think. Yeah. And in that time, like, obviously, the first conversation we ever had, I recommended the Kabbalion for you to read it. I gave you the PDF and also the audiobook. And I mean, I'm not, I'm not trying to.
Oh, well, I was a nervous mess, you're saying?
I'm not saying
You're gonna
I'm
say?
not saying you're a nervous wreck. You're a nervous mess. I mean, you probably were, but I mean, shit. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is that you would still come to me, during our early phases, right? With almost every day the same kind of things I'm talking about. People post on Facebook now. You know what I'm trying to say? You would email it to me, or I think part of you was trying to test how is this guy going to
Handle it.
not handle it, but more like justify it with his metaphysics shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, because obviously I'm thinking different than most people, right?
Maybe, yeah. I guess I was doing that.
Yeah.
I wanted to see what does he think about it, because he obviously has studied and knows a lot about metaphysics. So how does somebody like you see this and take it in and are able to remain at peace?
Yeah.
Knowing that this shit is going on.
Yeah.
So I guess that's why I did, and I kept doing it. I don't know why. Like, I just kept doing it because I was like, I think it was bothering me to my core.
Yeah.
And maybe I was tired of it. I was tired of feeling that way.
Yeah. I think part of you is looking for answers to not feel that way and to not necessarily not care, but have a deeper understanding through your caring or through your pain. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. I don't want to not care.
Exactly.
I don't want to not care because that's like my nature to
Bingo.
care.
Me too. And I said the same thing. I once said to myself, I said, you know what? I said, I am never going to turn a blind eye to the shit that happens in this world. You know what I'm trying to say? Until and it's not, I wouldn't say I turn a blind eye to it. I still see it now. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm not active in my pursuit of seeking it now in terms of, looking at these horrible stories. But I understand that pain is a necessary teacher in this world. And without pain, unfortunately, human beings will never really evolve or learn. Because I'm speaking for myself, but I can assume you just speak for yourself as well, that pain in my life has been my greatest teacher. You know what I'm trying to say? The pain of my heart. You know what I'm trying to say? I've spoken about this often, but some people might not have heard it, that when I was in jail, I was in jail for essentially trying to save Black people, right? Through a physical way, via law, etc. But when I was in that cell and I couldn't get out, and I knew I couldn't get out to save my people, etc. The pain in my heart was so deep that it forced me to ask God. I didn't know what God was, to go about things in a different way. You know what I'm trying to say? If that pain was not there, I never would have surrendered that pain in my heart. Does that make sense? I was willing to. I was willing to die and take pain in the physical world. These motherfucking cops beat my fucking ass. You know what I'm trying to say? And bruise my bones. And I was willing to take that if that meant seeing Black people free. I was willing to give my life. You know what I'm trying to say? If Black people could be free and have the right to self-determination in this world. So my life was not something I was not willing to sacrifice. So it was the only thing that really would have stopped me was going in jail and experiencing that inner pain. Without that, I would never have met you. I never would have had this podcast. I never would have understood that I was an empath. I'm trying to say, I would have thought of myself as some kind of, pro-Black or or Moorish nationalist, or I'm trying to say, or just, Black nationalist, Moorish nationalist. What do you want to say? Like, I would have thought of myself as that. I'm trying to say, and I would have my consciousness would have just degraded until I thought, okay, law's not working. Well, I'm gonna have to strap up. You know what I'm trying to say, and get this, and learn how to start shooting. You know what I'm trying to say, and degrade my consciousness further, into physical chaos, as opposed to understanding how to take my power back in the inner world, or the inner universe, through metaphysics.
Well, pain is no joke.
It's not.
Inner pain, you're saying pain in your heart?
Pain in my heart, yes. I'm not talking about pain like, you get shot, or pain like you get stabbed.
Okay, well, to me, like, I've had to deal with pain in my heart,
yes.
but also physical pain,
Yes.
and they both kind of do the same thing to you,
Yeah.
because with physical pain, a lot of times it's your body is basically giving you a warning and telling you something. So
Yeah.
you do have to think about it. You do have to sit and think about what you're going to do next in order to prevent that pain, for that pain to leave and for it to not come back.
That's true. I
And
agree.
and then with the pain in your heart, you have to go inside and analyze everything that's happened, and hopefully you have the right teachings
Yes.
to get you through it, because if you don't, you'll just stay in that loop.
Exactly. And you have to also understand that the threshold of pain, this is something I'll eventually write about, but that threshold of pain is also what your enemy, right, in this physical world will use against you to deter
Oh
you,
yeah.
from seeking freedom in the
Yes,
physical
yes.
world and in your internal world in terms of finding peace, right? So
Which they're doing that in the media right now to and they
they've
know that
always
black
done that.
people.
They've done that since
Yeah, yeah,
slavery, and they know that black people in
yeah,
their DNA have those
yeah.
traumatic scars of being whipped and being brutalized, right?
Mhm,
To keep themselves, what they did was they took us, and through a process of epigenetics, turned our
mhm,
nervous system into the nervous system of a prey animal. You know what I'm trying to say, or a sheep.
mhm,
That's why in the Bible we're talked about as sheep. You know what I'm trying to say, as a nation of
mhm,
people. Not everybody's sheep, but the majority, our nation is a nation of sheep. You know what I'm trying to say, meaning
mhm.
that a sheep, if you see the size of a sheep and sees the size of a fucking dog, right? The sheep could easily kill that fucking dog with a swift kick or some shit. You know what I'm trying to say? Or at least injure that motherfucker. So one dog can go and rally a bunch of, or wolf, whatever, can scare and like completely create chaos amongst a whole giant big herd of fucking sheep, which could easily kill it. Because they're so scared in their nervous system, right? They allow for that one wolf or that one dog to herd them and to kill them at will. You know what I'm trying to say?
Mhm.
So that's what they've done to us, and that's been working for so long, you know, and that's
And
why.
because I know that, I now know that
Yes.
when I hear about these things, like that's happening, especially recently, as soon as I see it, a part of me wants to react with anger and then fear, and then there's another part that's telling me and reminding me that this was done purposely to put fear and sadness in me, and I can't afford to absorb any more fear or any more sadness into my being, because it's affecting me. It's affecting my health. It's affecting my sleep, my way of life. It's affecting me.
Your
So I
relationships with
had to,
people.
relationships with people. I don't even
Shit,
want to
I didn't want to go. After watching all this goddamn police brutality shit, I was ready to goddamn go to the store and start grilling white folks. You know what I'm trying to say? I live around mostly white people. You know what I'm trying to say? And so
I know how you feel, because
it's so I kind of,
after that,
yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, after that, the thing about the girl getting her throat slit
Mm-hmm.
last week, it kind of made me feel a little bit uncomfortable, even though just for a day, for maybe one day after, which is better than before, because before it would last for a week to 2 weeks. So one day after that happened, I did feel a little bit uncomfortable outside, and I was watching my environment, which everybody should watch their environment. You can't block everything out, which is what I used to do because of
Be aware of your surroundings. You're saying
yeah. Like, because before I used to block things out. That was my way of protecting myself
because you're
from
afraid of them. That's why
absorbing.
you're afraid of your surroundings.
I don't want to absorb anything, and I don't know, just certain things, like you don't want to take in too much. And
What I do is I don't fuck that. What I do
Mhm.
is instead of absorb, I project. That's the next level as an empath. right?
Well, I know, but before I was absorbing so much that it was affecting me, and now after that happened, I'm more aware of my surroundings. Like that is just because everybody should, especially if you live in a city, a busy city, you should be aware of your surroundings. But I realized, like you were saying, that what's happening, this has been happening for so long.
Exactly.
It's not like it's just started happening. So
Exactly.
it's been
They're not
happening
doing
for so
they're
long.
not doing white people are not doing anything new that they haven't already done. You know what I'm trying to say?
No.
They've been
And for
slaughtering us.
every slaughter, something else is going to happen, and not to their favor or whatever.
Exactly.
So
For
I
every
understand
exactly. So
it
going back to the Kabbalion, I'm gonna say the exact axiom so we can bring this shit back on a metaphysical track here. You know what I'm trying to say?
okay.
Hold on. Let me try to find this damn thing here. Hold on. It says, I believe it's a principle of rhythm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Everything flows in it. Everything flows out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests the pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measurement of the swing to the left. I'm sorry. The measurement of the swing to the right is the measurement of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. But basically, what that's trying to say is that, like, based upon the degree of evil that that they've perpetrated, right? If what this is saying is true, that means that there is like a pendulum swing to that evil. You know what I'm trying to say?
Whether you see it or not, whether
Exactly.
you see it with your two eyes or not.
Exactly. So the pendulum swing to the right is the pendulum swing to the left, or vice versa. You know what I'm trying to say? So that means that to the degree of evil that you have taken in within you, right, and you've endured, right, which is the story of Christ, right, you can then take that and cultivate that for good. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's a metaphysical alchemical process that we're undergoing as individuals, and then there's a metaphysical process that we're undergoing as a whole collective of black people and a whole collective of the human race. Does that make sense? So we have to experience this because it's still within our DNA, right? So when it no longer has a purpose, when it no longer serves a purpose within us, then it'll stop. Then it will no longer serve a purpose. Then it will no longer transpire within us. It will no longer transpire outside of us, which is the principle of correspondence, right? Or as above, so below. Some people also say as so within, also so without. You know what I'm trying to say, or outside yourself. So when you understand that, and these laws don't become like wishy-washy hearsay type thing, and you understand that these are the inner workings and the underpinning of the material universe, right? Then you begin to learn to, through centering yourself, right? You then begin to take that mentalism, which is the first law, and use that to project your will into the world and have it be done, right? I understand with 100% certainty, to the point where I'm willing to give my life, that the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice will rule this world eventually, and that all false things will pass away, right? And because I understand that, and because I know that in my heart, I understand that everything else that I see is just shit playing out within people. You know what I'm trying to say? Because they're undergoing, these people that weren't willing to give their lives and things like that. These people that were on a slower train towards enlightenment. These people that had a higher tolerance for bullshit. I'll tell you right now, my tolerance for bullshit was very slim. If I had any, I don't tolerate bullshit. That's why I was able to reach enlightenment faster than I'm 35 now, than the majority of people. You know, most people will tolerate bullshit. You know, most people tolerate injustice. You know, when I first heard that, for example, that this is about the Moorish movement type shit. when they said some shit about, you're the license, how the license was some of tool to entrap you, and that like you could drive without a license and some shit like that. The first like this, the next day, I took off my goddamn license plate. I'm trying to say, and started driving around without a goddamn with my own tags, which I fucking drew with a a magic marker or some shit. You know what I'm trying to say? That's like, I'm on that level of like, fuck this shit, fuck this world type shit. Like, what? You know what I'm trying to say? You have to, in the tarot deck, that's called the Fool. You know what I'm trying to say? That's the archetype of the Fool. And the Fool is the highest degree of mastery, because the Fool keeps his heart pure no matter what society does or what society puts upon him. You know what I'm trying to say? To the point where it might seem foolish to others what they're doing, but in their soul, they know that what the fuck they're doing is an alchemical process, right? So I let my soul govern my vessel, my shell. Most people let their shells govern their souls. Right?
That's true.
And because of that, they're subject to all the shit that they see.
It's good. It's helping me look at everything.
Yeah.
Different. Slow down, because I think I was reacting too fast before. Mm-hmm. So now I'm slowing things down now and paying attention to what's really going on, as opposed to what was in my mind already that kept repeating all the time and like reacting.
Yeah. What do you mean by what's really going on? You mean what's going on in the inner world that you're seeing in the external world now? You're saying, or what?
Yeah. What's going on? I guess
within us.
What's playing out? Yeah. What's playing out
in the dream?
Yeah. In the dream. Yeah. In the dream, yes, basically.
Exactly.
But if I didn't know this now, I would be stuck in the way I was thinking before. But now that I know this, it takes a lot of weight off of my back. Exactly. It's carrying a lot of weight.
Bingo. There's a movie about this. It's called Knowing. It's got Nicolas Cage or some shit. I forget his name. Nicolas Cage.
Yeah. I remember
it's not the greatest movie, but it talks about this. Basically, you have to have a certain inner knowing to find peace. I call it faith.
You do.
I call it faith. You know what I'm trying to say?
That stuff weighs you down physically too. Like that stuff makes you put on weight.
It does, because because you're having to compensate with the spirit of dead plants and dead animals, because because you don't have what the Christians would call the Holy Spirit within you. You know what I'm trying to say, which is faith. And now I'm going to go more into that, because the term faith, it's like faith in what? Now, for those who have cultivated themselves and have raised their soul up to a certain level, they are in the active process of understanding that they are God experiencing itself in this universe, right? And so they're raising Kundalini energy, and they are the beings that are in this world, making it vibrate higher. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel that I personally feel, I know there are some people that feel that we're all going to be something like Christ, or all be. I can see kind of what you're saying, but I feel there's only going to be one person that is in my understanding, in my heart. There's only be one individual that is the head, and I'm not under the illusion that every single human being is something we have to wait around for to reach enlightenment, to get out of this world. You know what I'm trying to say? So faith in that individual, and faith in just the people that are doing the true work down here. You know what I'm trying to say? To raise this, and really ultimately it's about finding faith within yourself, to find peace. If you cannot do the work, and if meditation to you is something that you just feel as if you don't have the time, or you don't have the energy, or the patience, or the strength, or whatever, then you're gonna have to find faith or belief, which is just a worse, or just a degraded state of faith in Christ. You know what I'm trying to say? Because without that, you're always going to be subject to the material universe and what happens. And guess what? What's happening now is going to be a great chaos. It's only going to be peace for those people who have found that faith and that inner knowing. So
I also look at at certain people differently as well too. I look at them as souls now, not people.
Yes, exactly.
Whereas before I used to look at people as more as just like regular everyday like people. But now I look at them as souls. And when I say that, I mean people of color. I look at as souls. So if it happens that they get attacked and they die a violent death,
Mm-hmm.
I look at it differently now than before, because
Exactly.
maybe that's what they came here to do.
Exactly. So Nat Turner,
You know?
died a horrific death. You know what I'm saying? Where his body parts were used to like grease wheels and shit. You know what I'm saying? Some just nasty shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But realistically, he could have lived, and maybe been a prize Mandingo fighter in this, you know what I'm saying? Or some other slave, like what can a slave be? You know what I'm saying? That's good. I guess for a slave, that's the hottest shit. Being a prize, that's like, you can be like the Mike Tyson or the fucking, of the plantation. But, realistically, the point is that we're all, if you're in this world, you're a slave of this world. You know what I'm trying to say? I once thought I was a slave of this society, and that's true. And I once thought I was a slave of white people, and that's true. On the material world, on the material level, right? But on the deeper metaphysical level, you're a slave to this fucking universe. That's the highest understanding of enlightenment. And the struggle to find freedom in the physical will eventually make you understand that. Now, Nat Turner, he died in that day and time. You know what I'm trying to say? In the physical, his soul is eternal, so his soul can come back to do more work. In a different incarnation in the physical. Ultimately, this shit's going to end. But the point is that people. There's a story that I learned in the Moorish Science Temple, and basically it talked about the Christ, dying. He was being crucified, and there was a priest, like a high priest, who was enlightened, and he said, "Why everybody else is crying and wailing of Christ being crucified, right? This good heart, pure-hearted man is being crucified." The priest said, "This man is dying for our sins." You know what I'm saying? Essentially he understood that this man, through what he's going through and his sacrifice, through his pure heart, we're going to be free. You know what I'm trying to say? And so him dying is more important than you living and, being able to say Hotep and wear your head wrap and have cultural freedom under white supremacy, which is really what most black people want. You know what I'm trying to say? So the person who's willing to give their life, you know what I'm trying to say, in the metaphysical cause of serving the soul, which is the seed of God within us, you know what I'm trying to say, is spiritually speaking, is more elevated than somebody who has, riches in the world or is doing well for themselves in the world. You know what I'm trying to say?
And some people don't even know. Some people don't even know that they're about to give their life. Like these things happen.
Their human brain may not understand that. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But their soul, if their body and their mind are in understanding of their soul's purpose, then they can sometimes have they can sometimes feel it and predict it. Like that one rapper you're talking about recently that died, some XX something. I don't even follow the guy, but
XX. Yes.
you saw him in the video. He's kind of showing his own death. Tupac did similar things. You know what I'm trying to say? We had videos that came out about him dying. You know what I'm trying to say? So we understand sometimes if we have a certain degree of spiritual enlightenment that our bodies are actually here to serve our souls, right? And that can be a hard thing for the ego, right? Which is really the remnants of the demiurge or whatever creators of this universe within us to keep us from really truly recognizing our soul's calling and our soul's mission to get free. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it really is. You know, when we talk about the ego, that is the real devil. You know what I'm trying to say? So if you reach a certain amount of spiritual enlightenment, then your ego will become in alignment with God's will, or the will of the soul. That doesn't mean I don't have an ego. I still have a fucking ego. You know what I'm trying to say? That the ego is here to protect you. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
To keep you safe in your mind and in your heart. You know what I'm trying to say? So you need to have that. You know what I'm trying to say? You need to have, metaphysically speaking, a loaded gun. You know what I'm trying to say? But it's not that loaded gun is not there. It's not there to harm others in the physical universe. It's there really to keep you sane while you carry out your soul's mission. You know what I'm trying to say? And that's pretty much it. Like you have to be able to protect yourself, because this world is there's a lot of people. It says in the Bible, something like wide is the path that leads to destruction, and narrow are the gates that lead to salvation, and few will enter. You know what I'm trying to say? Something like that, like narrow, enter by the narrow gates, right? Basically what it's saying is that the masses of people, right, don't know shit, right? And they're just automatons, right? And playing out whatever they're programmed to play out. They don't really even exist. That's a hard thing to comprehend, because you were thinking, well, they have lives, they have kids. Well, guess what? A fucking roach has kids. A rat has kids.
Yeah.
Anybody can fuck. You know what I'm trying to say? That doesn't, okay, great. You know, we just saw, I was watching the Black Mirror episode with that one white girl that goes around killing everybody because she might get caught that she murdered somebody in the past, you know?
Yeah.
It just goes to show you that basically, most people are just not much more than animals. They'll do what they're doing to protect their brood. You know what I'm trying to say? And completely, no matter if it's devoid of moral consciousness, in the end, she kills a fucking baby. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. It's like, human beings are not much better than animals for the most part. You know what I'm trying to say? It's a harsh reality to learn, but it's truth. It's truthful. And you have to develop an ego, even if you're a deep student of the metaphysical, because if you don't, you will allow those people to be able to bring you down and bring you into their consciousness of survival consciousness in the Matrix. You know what I'm trying to say? Well, that's true. Why don't you just get a good job in the Matrix? Why don't you just settle down with a nice white girl? You know, all your problems could be easily, taken care of if you just, stop listening to these radical Negroes and, get a good job working for the white man. So you have to protect yourself from that, from the cleverness of the ego within inside yourself. That, you know what I'm trying to say? That would allow you to stumble off your path and forget that your vessel, you're only really here to carry out your soul's mission, which is really just God's will. That's pretty much it.